Have you ever experienced a day that felt completely unusual and made you notice everything around you in a new way? Imagine waking up this morning and realizing that everything seemed different. The sun shone brighter, the birds chirped louder, and even the coffee smelled stronger, and you felt curious and excited to see what the day would bring. Can you picture leaving your house and seeing people behaving in ways you had never noticed before, smiling at strangers, greeting neighbors, and noticing how the world feels more alive when you pay attention? Can you imagine walking down the street and noticing small details like the color of the flowers, the shape of the clouds, the rhythm of the wind, and saying these sentences in English? I see red flowers, I see fluffy clouds, and feeling proud that you can describe your surroundings clearly. Can you picture a small, unexpected event, like a bird landing nearby or a dog running past and you narrating it in English, saying a dog ran fast past me, or a bird is sitting on the fence, and noticing how easy it is to describe what is happening in the moment? Can you imagine meeting a friend or a family member and telling them about your unusual experiences using simple English phrases? Today something strange happened. I saw a squirrel eat a sandwich. Or this morning I noticed a rainbow, and feeling how naturally English words start coming to your mind. Can you see yourself noticing unusual things at the market or in a cafe and practicing English sentences, saying the apples are big, the bread smells fresh, and noticing how this small habit builds your confidence? Can you picture sitting in a park and narrating your thoughts in English, saying I am sitting on the bench, I am watching children play, and feeling how repetition helps your fluency? Can you imagine describing your emotions throughout the day using English phrases, saying I am surprised, I am excited, I am curious, and noticing how expressing feelings strengthens your vocabulary? Can you visualize narrating small challenges like spilling coffee or missing a bus, saying I spilled my coffee, I missed the bus, and noticing how describing everyday problems in English improves your confidence and listening skills? Can you picture meeting a stranger and asking a simple question in English, saying, excuse me, do you know the time, and noticing how practicing small conversations makes communication easier? Can you imagine describing unusual weather or natural events in English, saying the wind is strong, the clouds are dark, and noticing how narrating nature strengthens comprehension? Can you see yourself reflecting at the end of the day using English phrases, saying today was unusual, I saw many new things and felt happy, and noticing how reflection reinforces learning? Can you picture practicing English while performing daily routines, saying I am brushing my teeth, I am making breakfast, I am packing my bag, and noticing how narrating actions improves fluency? Can you imagine creating a mini journal in English describing unusual events, saying today I saw a cat chase a butterfly, or today I heard a funny sound, and noticing how writings and speaking together enhance learning? Can you visualize repeating favorite sentences aloud before sleeping, saying I saw something unusual today, I am learning English, and noticing how this builds long-term fluency? Can you imagine reviewing new words each morning, describing yesterday's unusual experiences, saying, I saw a rainbow, I heard a bird sing, I felt excited, and noticing how repetition cements memory? Can you picture planning tomorrow's day in English, saying tomorrow I will watch for unusual events and practice English, and noticing how planning strengthens confidence? Can you see yourself telling short stories in English to children or friends, saying, today a bird landed on my window, a cat crossed the street, and noticing how storytelling reinforces this fluency? Can you imagine narrating meals in English, saying I am eating toast, I am drinking juice, and noticing how describing actions improves vocabulary retention? Can you picture describing emotions of others in English, saying the child is happy, the dog looks curious, and noticing how observation and narration improve comprehension? Can you imagine narrating your travel or commute, saying I am walking to the station, the bus is late, and noticing how daily narration builds automatic English thinking? Can you visualize practicing English while shopping, saying I am buying apples, I am paying for bread, and noticing how describing actions strengthens memory? Can you imagine practicing simple dialogues for greetings and manners, saying hello, how are you, good morning, thank you, and noticing how repetition builds confidence? Can you picture imagining conversations before speaking and practicing them aloud, saying, where is the restroom, I need help, and noticing how anticipation strengthens fluency? Can you visualize narrating small challenges in English, saying, I missed the bus, I dropped my bag, and noticing how describing events helps problem solving and language skills? Can you imagine reflecting on progress at the end of each day, saying, today I spoke more English, I felt more confident, and noticing how small daily steps lead to big improvements? Can you picture practicing pronunciation while narrating unusual events, saying, I saw a rainbow, I heard birds sing, and noticing how repeated pronunciation improves fluency? Can you imagine creating mini quizzes for yourself, saying, what unusual thing did I see today? What new word did I learn? And noticing how self-testing reinforces learning. Can you visualize narrating your feelings and thoughts to a friend or a family member, saying, I am excited, I am curious, I am surprised, and noticing how speaking aloud strengthens vocabulary? Can you picture using English phrases to describe every small detail around you, saying the flower is red, the cat is playful, the sky is blue, and noticing how describing sensory details improves comprehension? Can you imagine repeating sentences in different tones and speeds, saying, I saw a cat, I saw a dog, I saw a bird, and noticing how variation improves fluency? Can you picture reflecting weekly, saying, this week I noticed many unusual things and spoke more English, and noticing how consistent practice builds confidence? Can you imagine narrating interactions with strangers, saying, excuse me, can you help me? I am lost, and noticing how small conversations enhance fluency? Can you visualize planning short daily goals in English, saying, today I will describe unusual events and use 5 new words, and noticing how setting goals strengthens learning? Can you imagine narrating movements and actions in English, saying, I am running, I am walking, I am jumping, and noticing how motion-based narration builds fluency? Can you picture narrating unusual events in nature, saying, the wind is strong, the tree is bending, the bird is flying, and noticing how observation and narration strengthen comprehension?